Hey, what's going on, everybody? Manny here once again. Welcome to DFS Zone. I have a brand new video for you, but before I get started, like always, I appreciate you guys drop a like. If you're new to the channel, it's your first time here, never ever seen any of my lineup advice videos, the only thing you need to do to be a part of the community and get this content on a consistent basis is to become a subscriber to the channel. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe down below. Make sure you put on your post notifications. This way you don't miss out on any of my new uploads. With that being said, today is Tuesday, March the 5th, 2019, and we have a 6-game slate in the association, ladies and gentlemen. And before I get started, just a little bit of news. If you do MLB DFS and WNBA a little bit more in the middle of the season towards the summer, I do cover those as well. So if you're new to the channel and you are looking forward to doing MLB as well as WNBA, make sure that you become a part of the community. All that you have to do, like I said, is become a subscriber to the channel. All right? So be on the lookout for that. A lot of stuff coming through here at DFS Zone for all of you guys that play DFS. All right, so back to the slate. Let's go over the injuries, all right? Injury news right now at the moment. Jimmy Butler, game time decision with that back issue. If he is sore, he does not play. Obviously, the bump goes to Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, so you got to consider those two guys, and then you could sprinkle in there maybe a little JJ. I think those three guys will probably be the key guys to concentrate on. Klay Thompson, game time decision as well. If he is out, and I believe he will, that definitely opens up the doors. Obviously, there's a bump in usage, almost up to 6% usually for Curry, and about a 2 or 3% usage bump for KD. I would lean more towards KD just simply because of the matchup. I think Boston has been vulnerable up front as of late, and I will probably lean more towards there where Curry's going to have to go up against Irving. And me personally, in my opinion, I think Kyrie is a better defender than Curry, so I think he will neutralize Curry in some capacity. But then again, you have to also think of, hey, Curry's at home and he plays very well at home. So, it's a preference for me. I would probably lean more towards Kyrie, even though he's on the road. Avery Bradley also game time decision, also with an ankle situation. If he is out, then I guess Mr. Wright will be getting the bump there. And then you also got to consider Justin Holiday as a drop spot pump play. He's probably at $3,900 or something like that, so he'll be perfect to throw in there because he's probably going to get a few minutes as well. He'll get some sort of time on the floor. If Paul George is out, obviously Westbrook as well as Dennis Schroeder are the top dogs, in my opinion, for OKC. Kenneth Faried has a game time decision with a hip. If he is out, I know he's been playing a little bit the 4 and sometimes the 5. If he is out, then obviously I don't really know where they're going to go other than they're going to go PJ Tucker. So he will probably get more minutes than he has been getting as of late. And I would think maybe Gary Clark they may go small, give some Gary Clark, possibly maybe even Gerald Green. So those are guys that you could keep in your radar. Ivan Rabb, game time decision as well with an ankle situation. If he is out or he doesn't play or is minimized as far as minutes are concerned, then you got to consider Chandler Parsons or maybe even CJ Miles to come off the bench and play some more minutes. And Miles is another player that you can utilize as a possible pump play or a drop spot play here on FanDuel because he's about bare minimum. I think he's $3,600. All right. Let's get right to it, man. So on the screen right here, let's get right to it, man. On my weapon of research, my research weapon of choice, Draft Dashboard. As you guys know, if you want to minimize your research time and get a lot of information all in one screen, Draft Dashboard is the place to be. As you can see on the screen right now, you got the players. We're going to go over the players. Right here, you got the DVPs, you got the defense, you got pretty much fantasy points per game, the minutes, the usage, you got what they have done against their opponent over the course of the last 3 games. You got value, you got the projected points, you got ownership, PPM, and hit, 3 new features that have been added to Draft Dashboard over the course of, I would say, the last month and a half. And they are just awesome features to have. And Chris over there at Draft Dashboard is working hard to even add more possible features to this software that's just going to make it even so much more better and so much more easier for all who are out there that are fairly new to DFS. So perfectly, this has everything you need right here on your screen. On the left-hand side of the screen here, you got the NBA cheat sheet. he offers a cheat sheet where he just narrows down the best possible plays in price points per position, so that you don't even have to go even through this, even though everything is pretty much simplified here on the screen. You got the position optimizer where I'm at right now, sleepers and studs. You got the players trend. You got the lineup optimizer where you'll be able to take all the players that you choose and put it in that lineup optimizer. Like, for instance, I have my watch players right now at 28 for this slate. So I can be able to throw them in there, that lineup optimizer, and then it will spit out as many lineups as I need or I want for today's slate. Other than that, it also covers FanDuel and DraftKings, all for the same, in one. You're not going to have to pay differently or whatever the case may be for the two platforms. Everything is all here in one spot, and it also covers MLB, NHL, NBA, and NFL, all available to you all in one spot. So it covers a lot of sports and a lot of information, man. Again, I can offer Draft Dashboard to you, my viewers, and my subscribers for 30 days for $1. If you click on the link in the description and below of the video, you click on that link, you will also be able to have access to my watch players list, which, is a pretty cool feature to be able to just log on and be able to know, hey, you know what, I could be able to check out Manny's DFS Zone players that he is targeting for today. This will get updated up and down throughout the day. By the end of the day, prior to maybe a half hour, 15 minutes, a half hour, maybe as much as an hour before lock, I pretty much have it all narrowed down to the very best possible plays after I do a little bit more, in-depth research as far as team statistics. Sometimes I look at the team stats to be able to make final decisions on plays. All right, so that's basically it, man. Let's go on. So that's Draft Dashboard. We go right to the top at point guard, man. At the top, I do like Russell Westbrook. Again, this matchup, he's 11,004, as you can see on the screen. He's 11,003 on DK, $100 cheaper. You pretty much need about 57 to me value on either one of the platforms, and he's averaging 55. As you can see, 55 points per game. His last 3 games of 45, 38, and 55, and he's playing 36-plus minutes pretty much on average. His usage rate is at 31%. He's still taking tons of shots, 20 to 21, 22 shots per game, taking about 4 or 5 threes, and he's a double-double, triple-double guy any given night. So he's going to go and do the dirty work, and he's capable of getting you a couple of steals and the occasional block. All right, he's projected to put up about 59 fantasy points, and as you can see here, versus Minnesota thus far, in his last 3 times facing Minnesota, he's averaging 58. We go right over here. You're going to see here the last 5 games against Minnesota, 57, 50, 66, 46, and 48. So he's been 46 or better. His floor, let's put it this way, is 46 over the last 5 meetings against Minnesota. I do like the upside. We know he's capable of putting up 70, 80 any given time. So Russell Westbrook is definitely someone to consider. As you can see, I do have an interest in Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons, I have an interest, and this is strictly DK only. Only DraftKings only. He's 9,900 on FanDuel. I do not like him at this price, especially if Jimmy B is going to play. If Jimmy B is out, I do like him a whole lot more, but I love his price tag on DK, $1,500 cheaper. You're looking at $8,400 for Ben Simmons. He's definitely someone you must consider. No doubt about it. And he hits that price tag 36% of the time. And you can imagine $8,400, he probably hits that over 40, maybe even 50% of the time. And that's the beauty of the hit percentage. If you were to click over here to DraftKings, you're going to see that that's going to make a difference. It's a really, really great tool. All right. But my favorite guy, other than Westbrook, is Kyrie Irving, which I already have stated. I do like the matchup against Curry. He's going to battle. He's going to want to play hard. He's going to want to ball out. He loves competing against other great players, and this is going to be a great, great opportunity here for Kyrie Irving. Kyrie at 9,400 on FanDuel. You pretty much need 47 to me value. He's 8,800 on DK. Only need 44. 44 is very much attainable. He's averaging 43. Numbers haven't been pretty as far as fantasy point totals over the last few games, but we know he's capable of stepping it up. He plays well when he's going up against good other guards, and he's going to step up here today as well. 33-plus minutes pretty much on average. His usage rate is 29% for the season. He's been trending a little bit downward with the usage rate, but I could expect that to bounce back up today. 46 average against Golden State over the course of the last 3 meetings against them. And if we look here further, last 5 games, pretty much 40, 37, 41, 21. He did have a 62 spot 5 games ago. As you can see, 60-plus upside. His last 5 games against Golden State, the 3 that I already mentioned, 56, 45, and 36. He did have an 18 prior to that. Again, right now he's only 6% owned. I love the 1.3 points per minute. And that could very easily be, on a good night, if he's shooting very well, it could be easily 1.4. 45% of the time, he's been able to at least meet value at this price. And I'm sure he's over 50% with the $600 cheaper on DK. All right, so Kyrie Irving in play. He's taking more than enough shots, man. 18 and 19 shots pretty much on average a game, 3 to 4 threes. He's capable of getting you rebounds and assists, and he could get you the occasional steal and block. Golden State Warriors 16th, as you can see, defending point guards, and they've been allowing 38.2 fantasy points per game to opposing point guards. They did give recently 59 to Simmons, 30 to Kemba Walker, which was definitely a bad down game for Kemba, 55 to Chris Paul. That was all over the course of the last 5 games. Now, there's a number of I got at least another 3 or 4 more guards that I'm thinking about there. Again, if you come along and try draft dashboard for the next 30 days, you'll be able to see my player pool on the remaining players. Let's go over the shooting guard. As shooting guard at the top, as you can see, I do have Harden here. I'm not gonna say much about Harden other than he's just an animal. The guy's gonna go out there, he's gonna ball, he's gonna play hard. This is another tough matchup. He's gonna want to kick some butt. At 12,100, you need at least 60 from him to meet value. But this guy can get you 60, could get you 70, can get you on one night, he can get you 90. He's just so unpredictable. But chances are his floor is probably like 50. His floor is, but let's take a look here, for instance, real quickly. As you can see, it's about 50. So his floor, his worst game was his last game, 47 against Toronto. His floor over the last 4 games was 37, which is definitely a surprise. But 52, 92, and 61 in the last 3 games. This guy, he could just light it up. Any given day, it could be 70, 80. So James Harden, just like I said earlier regarding LeBron James, no different for James Harden. This is a guy that you can lock in there every day and just give it a shot. He is $1,000 cheaper on DK, so obviously that DK price is a lot more appealing at 11,001. You only need 55, and he's averaging 59. So surprisingly, he's cheaper than what his average is. So he should definitely be able to be a nice, easy cash play tonight. For you guys that play cash, I'm a GPP player, so I'll be willing to throw him in there in a couple of quarter GPPs and see if he locks it in. At 51% of the time, he basically crushes that 12,001 price tag. So, and then he has also 1.6 fantasy point per minute, average. So that is crazy, man. So definitely James Harden is in play. Other than that, I do like Andrew Wiggins here quite a bit. Andrew Wiggins. 6,400, you need 32 to meet value. On DK, he's 5,700, you need 27, and he's averaging 30. So on DK, he's priced just absolutely beautifully. He's averaging his last 3 games, 22, 24, and 32, pretty much 35 minutes on average. He's been at 32 and 37 the last 2 games, so he's averaging about 34 as of late. But the minutes are there. Enough minutes. His usage is at 24% average. Is obviously downtrending a little bit. But nonetheless, overall-wise, he's still getting 32-plus in 3 out of the last 5, has 50-point upside. He's taking 16, 17 shots still per game and 3 or 4 threes. If he can just basically hit his shots and convert a little bit more, his field goal percentage, he will put up some serious numbers, and that's what I'm hoping for tonight. He can get you some rebounds and assists, and he's capable of getting you a couple of steals here and there. So steals and blocks. He has had actually 5 blocks in the last 4 games right here on my notes. 5 blocks in the last 4 games, so he's doing very, very well. But again, he's been struggling with his shot as far as getting his field goals to go down. That's the reason why he's only put up 22 and 24 in his last few games. As you look here, his last 22, 24, 32, 19, and 34. Not really explosive numbers because if you look at his game log, his shooting has been really, really poor, 30 to 35% in some games, 38, maybe even as high as 40 in 1 or 2 games. So he needs to clean that up. If he can get those shots to go down, he can definitely get us easily 35, 40 or better in this matchup. And as you can see, 49% of the time, he smashes that 6,400, and he's $700 cheaper. That 5,700 is a beautiful price on DK. So you definitely have to have some exposure to him. And again, a high paced up game, the highest implied totals of the day. I always like to target. I say that time and time again. You got to target some of these competitive high implied total games. And Andrew Wiggins is an integral part of the Minnesota offense. They need him to put up points. So Andrew Wiggins is definitely someone that I'm considering. Other than Andrew Wiggins, and again, I forgot to go over Andrew Wiggins. He's going up against OKC is 18th in defending shooting guards, and they've been allowing 33.4 fantasy points per game. They did give up recently 46 to Avery Bradley and 40 to Buddy Hield, and that's over the course of their last 5 games. All right. The next guy that I definitely want to target tonight at this price range is Dennis Schroeder. I know I gave you Schroeder just his last game out, and he went out there and he put up a 46 spot. I'm going to go back to the well and hit him again. No Paul George. He's going to get 2-3%, maybe even more usage out of the factors with Paul George out. You got to consider Dennis Schroeder. Again, same matchup, same game. I definitely want a part of Dennis Schroeder in this game. 5,600. You need pretty much 27, and he's 5,500 on DK. Same thing. 26, 27. Pretty much will take it, and that's what he's pretty much averaging. But he did put up a 46 spot in his last game. We'll go over here. And as you can see, 46, 29, 26, 30 over the last 4 games. So he's been doing 26 plus in 4 straight games with a 40 plus upside. His minutes are there, 40 and 31 and 33. He's trending upward in the minutes. He's averaging 29 for the season, and he's been doing 31 plus over the last 3 games. His usage has also been bumped up. That's all due to the fact that Paul George is out. No different. Usage will be up there in that 26% or better range today. Now has played well against Minnesota. I'm not even concerned. That's a totally different situation than it is right now. You got to take advantage of the factors that he is going to need to be able to provide some sort of offense for this team to be able to do well. All right. 50% of the time, as you can see here in the hit percentage, he knocks down that 5,600. So Dennis Schroeder definitely in play, 1 point per minute. His ownership is going to be high. As you can see here right now, it's projected at 40%. So, again, a nice pivot would be Wiggins and paying just a little bit more, or even coming down and trying some other people. But, again, I like those 2 guys the best, and obviously you got to have exposure to James Harden. All right, at small forward. At small forward at the top, we got Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant, and I think you got to have exposure to either one of the 2. And like I said earlier, I think Kevin Durant as opposed to Curry, at least for me, in my opinion, I'd rather go him because Boston has had some vulnerability up front as of late, where they've been giving up quite a bit of fantasy points, actually almost 29 fantasy points per game over the course of the last 4 or 5 games. And I think they ain't got nobody really that's going to be able to slow down Kevin Durant when there's no Klay Thompson on the court. So I would lean more towards Durant. But in this matchup, as far as whom I like better here in this slate, as far as on the small forward, I definitely would lean more towards Kawhi Leonard, just simply because, hey, you know what? At 9,700, he got 55 point upside. His minutes, his fantasy point totals have been slightly just about right, just as good as Kevin Durant, but his usage rate and the amount of minutes he's been playing, they're pretty much equally all the way across the board. I think what it comes down to is that he is in a more favorable position going up against a team that's 19th in defending small forwards as opposed to Kevin Durant, who's going up against Boston. It could be very tricky, even though I don't think somebody there is going to be able to slow him down. So you could go either one of these 2 guys. I would not be at all opposed to it. The only thing I don't like about Kawhi Leonard is that he has his numbers over the last 8 games. He's really been trending kind of downward a little bit as far as fantasy point totals, as far as, minutes, been choppy a few times. And, of course, he always takes all these days of rest. So I'm hoping that today he'll be pumped up to play a Houston team, which I believe he will be. And he's going to play. I think he's going to definitely give you guys an opportunity to put up 55, 60 in this matchup. As you can see, 52% of the time he's able to hit that $9,700 value price tag. So I do like Kawhi Leonard. He is still playing more than enough minutes. But his minutes are still there, 35 plus. His usage rate is going to still be high. He is definitely one of the key guys to go to offensively on this team. And he did put up a 48 against Houston the first time around, which is about what he needs here today. I mean, at 9,700, you need about 43. At 9,700, you need about 46, 47. And he is 8,900 on DK, so you only need 44. Definitely like that price on DK as well. I think you could take him in either one of the 2 platforms. And my thing also with the small forwards today, I really don't love a lot of the small forwards on this slate. So I'm gonna have at least some more exposure, 25 to 30% on Kawhi or KD today, and then maybe pay down for my second small forward, more in that mid range. But I just not loving the guys in between. So Kawhi Leonard, again, in play for me. 19th in defense. Houston's 19th defending small forwards, allowing 31.5 fantasy points per game. They gave up 31 to Josh Richardson and 42 to Kevin Durant. So I believe Kawhi Leonard is due for a nice 50 or better here. I think he's going to get it done. Other than that, you could easily go to Kevin Durant. I have no problem with it. I think I will have exposure to Kevin Durant as well. I just think that I will have a little bit more towards Kawhi Leonard, and that all may change. So again, follow along if you are. Remember also, you can follow me on Twitter. I always post about half hour before lock. I post up my final decision on some of my plays per position there on Twitter as well. Other than Kawhi and Kevin Durant, I got my eye on Otto Porter. I think JJ Redick, if there's no JB, you got to consider JJ. Maurice Harkless is interesting to me as well. Again, follow along, and by the end of the day, I'll be able to let you know which ones I'll finish up with. But I think here you got to pay up and take either Kawhi or take KD at small forward. At power forward, at the top, let's just get this right here. So power forward at the top, man, we got Lauri Markkanen, and you know what? To be honest with you, I like Lauri Markkanen. I know it's not the greatest matchup because Indiana could be tough on almost anybody. As you can see, they're second overall in defending, in defense, overall defense in the NBA. And the amount of shots, the amount of usage, the amount of minutes this young man plays, and what in his matchup against Thaddeus Young, I really like the matchup for him. He's bigger. He's a better shooter. He spreads the floor more because he can hit threes. He can hit from the perimeter. So it's going to bring Thaddeus away a little bit from the basket. And he's also capable of driving to the basket. And he's a good free throw shooter if he goes aggressively to the boards. And he's a great rebounder. He brings it all. So Lauri Markkanen, for me, I think is definitely someone that I have to have consideration. Now, granted, his hit percentage here, only 23%. But again, I'm just basing this all more so on just a really good feeling that his fantasy points per game at 36 and him being able to be, as of late, as you can see, 39, 59, 32, 48, 58. And if you calculate that, he is pretty much above his average. So he's been trending upward in 3 out of the last 4 games. He's been at 48 or better or 39 or better, and that's above his average of 36. His minutes are there, and he's going to play massive minutes. 33 minutes a game on average. He's been playing 28, 53, and 35 in the last 3. Usage rate at 25%. As you can see, a little bit of a bump. 2 out of the last 3 games, 30% or better. And he did put up a 41 spot against Indy the last time they played each other. But, man, 41 plus for this kid in 6 out of his last 8 games. He's been trending up, like I said. He was averaging only 15 shots per game. He's now shooting 19 to 20 shots per game since the trades have happened. 5 or 6 threes per game. He's a great free throw shooter. Gets to the free throw line on average about 7 to 8 times he gets to the free throw line per game, and he's a great free throw shooter. He brings double-digit rebounding and can get you some steals and the occasional block. Indiana, 17th in defending power forwards and allowing 33.8 fantasy points per game as of late. They gave up 31 to Gordon, 48 to Griffin, and Giannis put up 79. All these guys were all over the course of the last 5 games. So Markkanen in play for me, man. I like Markkanen. Tobias Harris is definitely in play, especially if Jimmy Butler is out. If Jimmy Butler happens to be out, I definitely like Tobias. At $8,000 may only need 40, and he is $600 cheaper. Holy smokes, $600 cheaper. That is crazy. Oh, and going back to Markkanen, I didn't tell you on DK, as you can see up here, $900 cheaper. It's $8,200 on DK. You only need 41. 41 is very much attainable for this kid. Very much attainable. So, again, Harris here. As you can see, I got a number of guys that I'm interested in. But one guy that stands out here, and even though he's going up in a pretty tough matchup against Boston, is Draymond Green. $6,500 for Draymond Green. He on DK, he's $5,600. He's $900 cheaper. $5,600 for Draymond Green. You only need 26, 27 fantasy points, and he's averaging 31.5, nearly 32. No, hands down on DK, he is definitely someone you got to consider. Now, granted, he's not going to put up a lot of shots. What he brings to the table is the rebounding. He can get you a little bit of defense, the steals, and that's what we need from Draymond to be able to do for us here. He did put up 38 in this last game, so he's definitely trending a little bit upward. And as you can see, his minutes, 31 average for the season, but the last 2 games, 34 and 38. So he's trending up as far as minutes are concerned. We know his usage rate is not going to be high, all right. And now with Boogie Cousins on the team, is gonna we discussed this. He was going to get definitely he's going to lose out on some rebounding and so. But again, still $5,600 on DK is just too cheap. You cannot pass up on Draymond Green. You got to at least have him sprinkled in some of your lineups. All right, and 6,500 here on FanDuel. And those are the only two I'm going to speak about. But as you can see, I have a number of guys I got to go over. So by the end of the day, this may all change. I may even not even go with marketing. But right now, I like marketing the best. At 9,100, I'm okay with paying that and paying 8,200 on DK. Let's go over to center. And at center at the top, man, we have, for me, I really just like a whole lot two guys today. Vucevic right here as he stands out, 10,500 on FanDuel. He is $1,300 cheaper on DK. He's a lock for me on DK. Great matchup with no Embiid against Philadelphia. This guy is it's a triple threat, man. He can score, he can rebound, he can shoot from the three. He's a good free throw shooter. He pretty much does it pretty much all. He's actually even a pretty good passing center as well. So he brings a lot of things to that. He reminds me quite a bit of Jokic, but just a bigger, bulkier guy. Vucevic definitely in play, man. At 10,005, you need 52 to me value on DK 9,200. Still can't get over that price tag. You only need 46, and that's about his average. And as you can see in the last 5, let's go over here where the Flames is at. Last 5 games, 62, 50, 44, 59, 52. So he's been at 50 or better in 4 out of his last 5 games. And his last 5 games against Philly, the last 2 most important, 51 and 65. So he's pretty much averaging about 57 against this team, and that's probably a couple of games with Joel Embiid, and now no Joel Embiid. So he's going to be I think he's going to end up being one of the highly owned players today, other than Karl Anthony Towns, as far as the centers are concerned, for the top tier centers. But I do like him here a whole lot, man. 40, again, 62 there. The minutes are there. Over 35 minutes in the last game. 28% usage rate, which is his average. He's been in that 26 to 31 in the last few games. And as you can see, the numbers, 51 and 65 against Philly, averaging 43 over 3. But I'm looking at the last 2 games, 51 and 65. That's about 57, 58. I definitely love those numbers, man. 12% projected ownership at the moment, 1.5 points per minute. And he has hit this number 34% of the time. He's been able to break down that 10,005. But again, that 9,200, I'm sure that's almost more closer to 50% for him if we were to look at it on DK. So I do like Vucevic. He is taking 16, 17 shots a game, 2 to 3 threes per game, and he's also brings the double-digit rebounding. As we all know, he can give you some assists, and he definitely defends. He'll get you steals and blocks. And over the course of his last 5 games, he has had 4 games where he's put up 23 points from the floor. Philadelphia 19th in defending centers and allowing 38.2 fantasy points per game as of late. They gave 43 to Cousins, 29 to Steven Adams, 52 to Julius Randle, and 42 to Jusuf Nurkic. So, yes, I like Vucevic. Other than Vucevic, I'm going to come all the way down here. As you can see, I do have some consideration and maybe some exposure to Al Horford in that matchup against Golden State. But I do like Marc Gasol. He's starting to get some minutes now for the Toronto Raptors. That's what they brought him there for. He's a good defending center, and he can actually score and can shoot the 3, and he's a pretty good free throw shooter. So something that they really didn't have, even though I really do believe Valanciunas, if he would have gotten the opportunity, I think he could have done very well too. But Gasol, just price tag is pretty cheap. 6,600 on FanDuel is a cheap price. This is a guy that is over 7K, even in parts of last year. So we know he's capable of putting up better numbers. We got to take advantage of that price tag. And he's $900 cheaper on DK. We're talking about 5,700 on DK. You only need 27 for a Marc Gasol who's averaging 37 pretty much. That's incredible. You got to have some exposure to him on DK and even on FanDuel. 6,600, you only need 33, and that's still below his average. And now he's starting to get into the routine of, getting involved with this scheme, just really feeling his way into the Toronto Raptors team. And he's starting to get going. Last 3 games, 38 and 45. He's playing 32 minutes per game on average, and he's put 32 and 37 in 2 games respectively. 21% usage rate has been slightly, give or take around that range in the last few games. And then as you can see here against Houston, not great numbers. 2 games back, he did put up a 42, and he has had a 39. He's averaging 32 over the course of the last 3. But again, almost 5 point, over here, 1.2 points per minute. You just can't go wrong with that. At 64%, yeah, he should be crushing this number. Give him the 32, give him the 33, 34 minutes, and I'm sure he can get you 50 fantasy points. I think he can get us 10x tonight at this price tag, and he'll be crushing it big time on DK. So, yeah, Marc Gasol is definitely someone in play for me, a guy who's taking still 11, 12 shots a game over the course of the last 4 games. He can hit you some threes. He gets to the free throw line, and he's a pretty good free throw shooter. He gives you rebounds and assists. He's a good passing center. That's another thing that is very good about Marc Gasol. He's a pretty decent defender, gets you some steals and some blocks. He's had 3 steals and 3 blocks over the course of the last 2 games. He's going up against Houston. Houston is 14th in defending centers, allowing 33.4 fantasy points per game as of late. They did give up 28 to Horford, 29 to Adebayo, and 31 to Dedmon. All right. So that's where we at, man. That's pretty much what I'm liking right now at the moment. Follow along, like I said, man. Drop a like on the video. If you want to try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1, hey, man, just click on that link down in the description of the video. You'll be able to have access to my player pool. Right now it's at 27. Before lock, it should be down to about 15, 16, maybe even less, maybe even more, maybe even as high as 18, 19. But at least you have something that you can go back to, engage in. And if you're trying to cross-reference and say, hey, you know what, man, I'm not too sure about somebody. Let me see what Manny's got. That will be a good way to utilize the draft dashboard as well by watching my watch players list. And other than that, I mean, you can follow me on Twitter. I will definitely post up some information regarding the slate just prior to lock. And that's basically it, man. So I wish everybody a lot of luck, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.